Success and beyond. And through the day, we have been talking on different aspects of success. But what beyond success is also something which is very important. And he had just asked that question to Ajay Bhai. So I'm just going to run you through quickly a few points about what after success. So it is said that in life it is not enough to have more and more. It is also important to rise higher and higher. So when we say rise higher and higher, we mean in terms of the inner evolution. Mr. Gopal Krishna also spoke about fulfillment, satisfaction. So that is at one level where one feels fulfilled and the gap gets filled up. One derives joy out of one's work, achievements and whatnot. But is that all? What is that which we call as really fulfillment? In the Upanishads, this is the question that a student has gone and asked the teacher. That what is that gaining which nothing remains to be gained? What is that knowing which nothing else remains to be known? That very question is a very fascinating question. Because in life, this question called what next doesn't stop. Every time I achieve a goal, this question comes up. What next? Again, I set another goal. I achieve that. So I've risen higher and higher externally. And of course, with that comes a certain internal growth also. But that what next doesn't go. And hence the Upanishads have this very beautiful question. Because there is a state, gaining which nothing remains to be gained, which has been discovered by so many great masters. And which is what one should be aware of at least, and then see whether one wants to pursue that state. Because no matter how much we achieve, there is a certain limitation. That's why the famous saying, in the world of rat race, even if you win, you still remain a rat, always afraid of the cat, hiding below the mat. So the sense of limitation, finitude, fear, insecurity, that doesn't go. And is my success the only objective of my life? Or a certain happiness of mind is the objective of life? So in beyond part, that is something which I have to question myself, that having become successful, having experienced the joy of achievement, what is that which is the state of fulfillment? So that question, when it comes to what next, generally a person always thinks in these terms, that let me serve the society, let me give back, let me do certain things, which is what some of them shared with you, and which is a very good thing, there is no doubt in that. Or one thinks, let me do some charity, let me pursue hobbies, whatever I haven't been able to do, let me catch up with that, let me do travel, which is all wonderful. But is there not something more? The human life has so much more potential, even after achieving success. In fact, after achieving success is what one has to even aim for that highest. So that is one thing which we have to think, that what is that which I want to achieve? The big picture of life, I have come to a certain stage, certain level. But what is that gaining which this sense of limitation and finitude goes forever? So there was Gautam Buddha who was doing this satsang. And many people were sitting there, satsang was happening. As usual, one person who was there was feeling little sleepy. So he went. So Buddha looked at him and asked, "Are you sleeping?" He says, No. Again he sat up. Satsang continued. Again after some time, "Are you sleeping?" No. Sat up again. And then he tried very hard. He didn't breathe for a whole minute. And that's one way to keep yourself awake, just in case you need that right now. So Don't breathe for 1 minute full. And don't breathe till you feel like, you're going to just suffocate and die if you don't get that breath. Then every cell in your body will become awake. Then you start breathing. So he tried that technique and he was sitting there. And third time he went like that. And Buddha said, "Are you alive?" He said, "No, no, 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 no." And he looked at him and said, "By mistake you gave the right answer." That what is it to be alive as a human being? Is it just to attain success, just to attain some peace of mind, just to have some satisfaction? An entire lifetime can have pass without ever being awake. That's why the Upanishads, they tell us, arise, awake, go to the teachers and learn. That there is something which is beyond the sense of finitude that we constantly experience. And that is what must be first learnt. And so, we have to know that work is a means to purify the mind, to inquire into that state, and then to achieve that state. So our work has to be seen in that context. Our achievements, everything has to be seen in that context. And hence a person who understands that there is that state, obviously that state of happiness, supreme happiness, free from fear, sorrow, ignorance, sense of limitation, is not something to be got from outside. It is a state which is my nature, true nature, each one's nature. And so that cannot be something which is a state of mind which comes and goes. It's not a temporary quietude of the mind or a joy that one feels when desire is fulfilled. It is something to be achieved which is much beyond the finite equipment, the body, mind and intellect. And so in your folder, I think we have given a chart which is called Evolve, Don't Revolve. How to evolve in this life. It would have different steps. So the first level is where I am doing things for myself, for my family, for my community. I'm making profit, I'm becoming successful, no problem. As I said in the beginning, bhutya ina pramaditavyam, do not postpone. As I live that way, and I do feel the stress of it, the anxiety, the pressure, because the more the I, the more the pressure. And I want to get out of that. We come to what we call as selfless action. The action remains the same, but the attitude becomes more broad, more selfless. And so that is called in Vedanta as karma yoga. If karma is action, dedicated action is called karma yoga. Action dedicated to some higher purpose, where this self-importance becomes lesser and lesser. So as I keep doing this karma yoga, the mental agitations, the 6 impurities of the mind, kama, selfishness, krodha, anger, lobha, greed, moha, delusion, mada, intoxication, matsarya, jealousy. These 6 are actually based on the first one, which is called kama, means desire prompted activity. If slowly I can transform that kam into nishkam, I continue to do my work in the society, in my family, in my company, wherever I am doing. But my whole attitude is producing more than what we consume, giving more than what we take. And it becomes selfless attitude. That mind will become purer. To purify that mind is the purpose of work. Chittasya shuddhaye karma, it is said. Also I can practice every day 10 minutes of meditation, or what we call as single pointedness. I take a support, bring my mind to that. Whenever it wanders, I again bring it back to that. I invoke love in my heart for that support. That support could be the name of the Lord, it could be the form of the Lord, it could be a chakra, it could be a light, it could be visualization, it could be the breath, any method which appeals. But the daily practice of single pointedness, 10 minutes to sit down. You know, in modern language, in neuroscience, it is called neurosculpting. If you can hold an idea in the mind, that is called neurosculpting. I'm saying this because otherwise we feel it's upasana, it is dhyan, it is something which is, I will do much, much later. But they speak about this in terms of the neurosculpting, and it's very, very powerful exercise. Just 10 minutes where I spend holding one particular thought, excluding everything else, it really changes the neurons in the brain also. It rewires the neurons in the brain. I just want to show you a small video of that.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
So this neuroplasticity works in many aspects, not only for meditation, but any habit, any way of thinking I want to change, neuroplasticity is something which will work. So 10 minutes of meditation makes the mind single-pointed, and the wandering mind, that nature, will slowly change. So if we accomplish these two, the mind becomes pure through practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga, and the mind becomes single-pointed through the practice of what we call as Upasana, or in popular words they call it meditation. In that person's mind, there will be a desire to know, there will be a desire to attain fulfillment, that what is beyond this, what is the truth, what is the reality, who am I, those questions they come up. And such a person goes to a teacher, asks about it, and then there are these 3 steps, that listen to the teacher with single-pointed mind and determine what is the essence, that who am I truly? Am I just this bundle of body, mind and intellect? Just this bundle of cells? Every 7 years we have a new body. Now imagine how many bodies you already have had in one life. Which body are you? Every day we think 60,000 thoughts. Now which thought is me? So am I just a bundle of thoughts, emotions and cells? That's an equipment. So Vedanta says, listen about this, that what is that which makes this enliven? What is that which makes this alive? And a person who listens to Vedanta, studies Vedanta, today so much options are available. But important is to study it systematically. There is a study scheme that Swami Chinmayananji made, so that Vedanta is introduced systematically. There are study groups that we have. Every week we meet once and discuss those scheme of books and understand Vedanta step by step. There is a basic Vedanta course, advanced Vedanta course, Bhagavad Gita course, which you can do in correspondence, which you can do by email. So step by step one has to learn this science. It is not something which I can pick up a book randomly and start reading. It's a subjective science, and I have to know the terms and terminologies. And it makes a very big difference. You just saw Ajay Bhai, he was speaking to you, and their whole philosophy and so many things are based on their understanding and clarity about these aspects. And the 13 years of satsang makes a lot of difference. So study regularly, so that is listening. When I listen, it will contradict with my thought process. That everybody tells me I am this, and the world is real, and here is some science which is telling me, no, I am not this is only an equipment. So then I have to do reflection, which is based on logic and experience. So that is called as manan. And to do that manan is what study groups were formed. When I do these two, and I am very, very clear that this is an equipment, my nature is something which is different, like this bulb here is only an equipment. It has a filament, it has tungsten, it has so many other things. But the electricity enlivens it, then the light manifests. Same way, what is that which enlivens me? The knowledge of that, one must be very, very clear about. Then one comes to that state of contemplation, where I can actually contemplate to reject who I am not and who I am, to assert that. That is what is to be done in contemplation. Many people think that contemplation or meditation is to achieve thoughtlessness. And if I achieve thoughtlessness, I have achieved the supreme. But that I achieve every night in deep sleep. And consciously I achieve that in a lecture also. Thoughtlessness. Right now it may be, Swamiji, what you are speaking is going bouncer, so I am thoughtless, gone. But the mind which knows itself, having transcended itself, that's the mind we have to achieve. We have to transcend the mind. The stillness plus awareness is what has to be achieved, not only thoughtlessness. Mind is totally still, having transcended itself. What is that state? Because every night when I go to deep sleep, or every time I'm absorbed in that work, or I look at nature and I'm fascinated by that, this small I, this ego becomes unmanifest and dormant. Who am I at that point in time? That state, Vedanta chooses to call it as Sat Chit Anand. Different people call it in different ways. Truth, reality, God, God consciousness. So many different names are there. When I transcend the sense of finitude, BMI, what remains? And that is the attempt in meditation. Secondary benefits of meditation may be BP has gone down, cholesterol has reduced, mind has become more efficient. But the main purpose of meditation, actually meditation cannot be done. It is a verb. Sorry, it's a noun, it is not a verb. It is a state to be in. And all this preparation is for me to lift myself to that state of being. So the practice is actually called contemplation, where I contemplate on who I am and reject who I am not. That leads to the state of the self, where a person awakens, comes to realize that, oh, my nature is that permanent happiness which I was till now seeking outside. That person is called enlightened, fulfilled, realized, whatever we call that state. And our whole human life is actually a journey towards that. Till one doesn't realize that state of fulfillment, there will be desires. Because desire itself is defined like that. A desire is what? A desire is a sense of incompleteness. As long as I identify with this body, mind, intellect which is incomplete, there will be desires and there will be a sense of limitation. And not all desires are fulfilled. So I keep coming back round and round again and again. That's why I keep revolving in birth and death cycle. Having got a human opportunity, this is the best way to exit this cycle. If I say that enough I have achieved, I've seen through life, I may continue doing what I want to do externally, but internally can I start discovering who am I truly? Then that person's journey has started. So this is what success and beyond is, that success is a part of one's life. In our culture, artha and kama, prosperity and enjoyment, they must be based on dharma, righteousness. But then being good and doing good, and being successful is not the end and all. The fourth Purushartha is what we call as moksha, freedom. Freedom from the sense of limitation. So if this much perspective we have, then it is up to us now how we want to explore this. This is an option that Vedanta is suggesting. Obviously, each one has their own option to think what beyond success, how to utilize their time, etc. But Vedanta has this option that awaken to yourself. And it says that having got human life, if I don't use it to know the self, I have lost a great opportunity. So success and beyond, this is our topic, and I want to conclude with this formula, which I share with everybody all the time. It is called T20. 20 minutes of exercise every day, 20 minutes of meditation, and 20 minutes of study. 1 hour a day, if I can implement. If I can't do it every day, over a week, I should learn to balance it out. And once I do this, I grow holistically, I achieve success, and also my focus remains on what is that which is beyond, and keep progressing towards that. So it's a very beautiful formula, and may all of us achieve success and beyond is what I would, we invoke God's grace and blessings of the entire Guru Parampara that we all achieve success, become happy, and also achieve this fulfillment in our life. So in the last few minutes now, what we are going to do is learn to make the mind single-pointed. As a practice, we will learn that. These are some of the ways in which you can connect to us through the website of the mission, website of Chinmaya Mission Mumbai specifically, chinmayamissionmumbai.com, and then there are other aspects where you can connect with me.